The origins of tennis are heavily disputed, but most historians agree that tennis was invented in 1873, with the official rulebook in 1874. But it wasn't always the sport of which we know today. Tennis started out as sort of a handball, and was played by two players, hitting the ball back and forth over the net, literally like four squares over a tennis net. The game grew to be more and more advanced, and was introduced to the Western world by the Europeans, and has exponentially grown in popularity. All you need to play is a tennis ball, a tennis racket, a tennis court, and you're set. So a tennis court. When you walk on one, you may be confused as to what all those lines represent. Don't worry, because I got you covered. So let's start with the net. The net is actually considered a line, and it's a boundary you must hit the ball over. After that, sneaking off to the left and right sides, you have the singles line and the doubles line. The singles line is the maximum point the ball is allowed to bounce once before considering out in a singles match, or 1v1, and the same with the doubles line, in a doubles, or 2v2. Next we have the service boxes. This is where you would aim your serves depending on where you're serving. More on that later. And finally, the baseline. This is sort of like the between the out zone and the in zone of the court, and it's true for both singles and doubles. The rules of tennis are actually quite simple, and they are: number one, the ball must stay inside the court, which is inside the singles line and the baseline for singles, and for the doubles is inside the doubles line and the baseline, and it must not hit the net. If you fail to do so, then it is the opponent's point. Number two, you are not permitted to touch the net, nor are you allowed to cross over to your opponent's side of the court. Number three, you cannot put your racket over the side of the net and to the opponent's side of the net. You have to hit the ball with your racket, and it cannot bounce on your court before going to your opponent's. And lastly, no cursing, no rude hand gestures, and just be respectful. Tournament rules get more and more complicated, but for beginners, that's mainly it. So the grip to the forehand is fairly simple. We're going to divide the handle of the racket into four levels. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Right? So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4 this way. And you're going to put your dominant hand, use your dominant hand to hit this shot. You're going to put the thumb and the pad between the thumb and the index finger. In that pad, you're going to put that in between the rod that connects level 1 and level 4. So right here, that rod right there. And you're going to put it right there, exactly like that. And that's your grip.